This video, I'm going to talk about the fact that I have not been to the cinemas in years. And I bet that you haven't been to the cinemas in years. Over here in the UK, we call it the cinemas. If you're elsewhere in the world, you might call it the movies, the picture house, to go and watch a movie that has been mass produced and you can see in that cinema house. Of course, there are different cinema experiences, but we're talking about the usual movie going experience, those big blockbuster movies that have been produced by a big distribution house. So we're talking Paramount, we're talking Marvel and Disney, all of those big name house movies. I haven't been to the cinemas in years to watch any of the movies that I have watched. So let's talk about that briefly. First, let's give you some backstory. What kind of moviegoer am I? Who do I go to the movies with? Do I go to the movies on my own? Now, I don't go to the movies on my own. Very rarely in my lifetime have I been to watch a movie in the cinemas by myself. I'm usually with somebody else, whether it be my brother, another family member, a friend, or somebody that I'm dating or in a relationship with. That's who I would usually go to the cinemas with. Most likely because I'll be spending some time with them anyway at some point, and we want to go and watch the movie, so we decide to watch the movie together as an experience of when we're going out. But that is only one factor as to the reason why me and probably you have not been to the movies or the cinemas to go and watch something. There's a couple of reasons why, and it's not just, of course, we've had a major pandemic. It's not just because of the pandemic. A lot of the blame is being pushed towards the pandemic and people spending a lot of time at home. That is not the reason why we're not going to the movies. Another reason why we potentially may have been put off from going to the movies is having bad experiences. So, bad experiences are, for example, you're in the movies or the cinemas and you don't enjoy the movie that you're watching. It could be that the movie going experience just wasn't what you expected if it's your first time watching that type of movie. So, for example, if you're going with a lady friend or someone you're dating and you go to watch a rom com, so a romantic comedy, and you don't enjoy that romantic comedy, and the person you would go to the cinemas with is only going to watch that romantic comedy, then you're not going to go to the cinemas. That could be a deciding factor as to why you're not going to the cinemas. But me specifically, I have an interest in watching movies. I watch a lot of movies. And in my spare time, if I'm cooling off, I would usually stream a movie if I have a streaming service available. Now, I don't have a streaming service available for me to watch right now. My Disney Plus subscription is currently on pause, so I can't watch any of the normal movies that I would usually watch. And although I've had previous subscriptions in the past, for example, Paramount Plus, I don't have those subscriptions right now at this current moment in time while I'm making this video. Is that really stopping me from watching a movie if I want to? Not really, because I've purchased some movies and I can watch it on my device or on a mobile phone device. But that's also not why I go to the cinemas. The reason why I would usually go to cinemas, other than, of course, spending that time with that loved one or that friend, is because I would usually be interested and be compelled to get up out of my seat, to stop what I'm doing, book time off, spend some time for that worthwhile experience in the movies. Now, there's been some banging movies that have came out, but there is definitely a shift in the production of the movies that we're usually getting from those big name houses, those Hollywood. I think it's like Hollywood Seven. Can't count them right now, but there's the main movies that are normally produced. Those movies, there has been a problem, and it's not from just online critics. It's not from internet culture. There is something wrong fundamentally with the movies or the way they're being marketed to us. Keyword marketing. Now, the marketing experience that we're getting from a lot of these big name house movies are all coming from one place. For example, my mother would be interested in something like Pride and Prejudice, the movie. She wouldn't know that that movie was in cinemas because she doesn't really use YouTube or another online service, filming, video watching experience online. It's not something she frequently does. if I see a movie that she'd be interested in, I would say to her, "Hey, yo, mom, there's this movie that you might like. You got YouTube on your phone now, you can go and watch it." But she wouldn't already know about it. So there's a breakdown in communication between the studios that are making the movies and the people that are watching or wanting to watch those movies. The marketing is focused mainly on places like YouTube, and the main audience that might be watching that movie might not even be here on YouTube, man. So even yourself, if you're watching this video until this point, you know you haven't watched movies, you're relating to what I'm saying, and you're understanding that there is a breakdown, because if you previously did go to the cinemas, there's something stopping you. Another thing is not only the disappointment, but of course, there are other factors as well in people's lives that are making people be like, I really need to be compelled to go out and watch that movie. There used to be a build up of a relationship or a build up of momentum, a sort of anticipation before a movie used to come out. And our culture surrounding these movies were a lot bigger back then in terms of the social circle, the word of mouth of these movies. You used to be really excited about these movies. Some of the movies that have been produced have had some source material that have been around for decades, if not up to 60 years in some points, in some cases. So these movies already have source material that people are interested in. And something is breaking down between the audience, us, and us watching these movies that is making us be like, I I got other things to do, man. I'm gonna go and do this. The social experience as well has changed, and I think movies need to also, maybe pay more of attention to that when producing a movie, which can help it be more of a success. And back to those queuing lines and those blockbuster movies and those movies that would build such anticipation. Now it's sort of like everyone's in a box, and we're waiting for either, especially if you're like me, you're waiting for either the DC movie or the Marvel movie or the Star Wars. Like there's very small boxes, or you're waiting for the Mission Impossible movie, or you might see a movie like, for example, Love Hurts. Love Hurts is a movie that I saw advertised recently, and I was like, that's a movie that I would sit down and watch. And there are multiple reasons why I would sit down and watch that movie. One, I like the actor. The actor I've seen in many different projects beforehand. I've seen him in The Goonies. I've seen him in Loki season 2, and I've seen him in other properties, and I enjoy his usual characters that he usually plays. So that's one thing that comes into play when I'm seeing Love Hurt advertised. Another thing is the genre of fighting in a movie and real martial arts in a movie has been so, I don't know, just not unused. It just feels unused. Stuntmen seem to come in to play only in those times where we need somebody to do like a triple somersault rather than an actual fist fight, or actual martial arts in a movie. I feel like movies are missing that, and the stakes are never heading towards a confrontation where there's going to be a punch in the face, a slap in the face, or something, a physical altercation. That seems to be missing from movies, so the stakes feel a lot lower. And when we do get that interaction, it's less intimate. So if a superhero, usually in a movie that I've watched recently, I'm trying to think of one, I'm trying to think of an interaction. In most superhero movies, the impact of a punch to the face, not only physically and visually on screen, but the emotion behind that altercation is missing. It's like if you get punched in the face, you know you got punched in the face, you know you got hurt. It's a very emotional thing to go through. There's a lot of intimacy and close quarters and uneasy emotions that come from one punch. But if a superhero is punching you in the face 10 times and I don't feel that when I'm watching that on the screen, something is wrong. Martial arts movies have a very good way at carrying emotion and tension before the actual fight happens, because a lot of martial artists tend to be very fast. So you can throw 10 punches, meaning you need to make those 10 punches count in terms of the writing and the emotion and the tension that you're building before you get to that actual interaction. Meaning that the script writers of usual martial arts movies, if you watch those movies back, will usually pay attention to what drives that character to either fight with someone who's the big boss man, or fight against someone, or fight someone who cannot defend themselves. You know the stakes between each fight. when you're in a superhero movie or not even a superhero movie, when you're in a character driven protagonist movie and they're always on top, you never really feel the stakes of the fight. You never really feel like, oh man, they're gonna lose this fight. No, they're never gonna lose the fight because they're completely overpowered. And when you're getting punched by a superhero, you're going to lose. So there's no stakes behind that. And the emotion of these nameless goons, you just never see it. There's no paying attention to it. Nameless goon number 10 just died on screen for the 10th time, and it was the same stuntman. I don't know who he is. Now, there are movies that have done it very well in that case of having stuntmen come in and out of different goons that are fighting against the hero, and the emotion and the tension is still being carried in the scene. For example, any Jackie Chan movie, he uses the same stunt team most of the time, but you still feel the tension and the stakes when Jackie Chan is up in a fight, or he might carry the emotion into a stunt that he's doing. So you feel Jackie going through that. You're like, oh my God, not only because of it being physical and there's risk and you feel that risk, but also there's risk in the confrontation in the first place. Jackie Chan is never 100% overpowered and fighting these goons. He gets hit, he has to defend himself. He might, oh, ow, I hurt my hands. There's something where the protagonist is at risk in the altercation, in the fight. This intimacy and this confrontation physically is missing from movies, and you never feel even the slight hint of a confrontation leading to an undesired path for the heroes of the stories today. Boom! I explained that like an absolute G. These are the things that are missing in movies. So if you carry that not only in martial arts movies, but in the movies that we're not going to the cinemas to watch, that's one of the main reasons I don't feel those stakes. Tom Cruise, absolutely fine. You can go and watch Mission Impossible. Not only is he at risk with the stunts and what he's doing and the emotion and the tension, he's done it very, very well. But also the story has stakes to it that are usually well risking the world. He's saving the world and he's putting himself or his team on the line. Now, if you've noticed, a lot of the recent Mission Impossible movies, which you see Tom Cruise in, it's not only him that he's realizing is at risk or he's pointing out is at risk when he's taking on the impossible mission, but it's also his team, which he now has a relationship with, or people that are coming into the fold, which he feels for. You feel that in Mission Impossible. But in the other movies that are trying to emulate the success of movies like Mission Impossible, that is mission. The stakes are gone. Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt is at risk every time he gets into an altercation. He's not overpowered, and you feel like he could still die or potentially die in each and every single scene that he's in. That is very important for an audience to even care about what you're watching. If you have an overpowered hero that is never going to die and is never being at risk and is never going to get hurt, or if they do get hurt, you're just going to be like, he's going to shrug it up. You're not going to feel nothing. There's no emotion. Writing needs to focus on building that tension back. And boy, oh boy, I could definitely do that. Yeah, so I have my headphone going. Not only that, game writing also is still doing it very well. So when movies are competing with games, they're forgetting that there's an actual brilliant story in most of these games as well. It's not just a game where you're picking up and shooting piao piao. There's an actual stake there, or the player is the one that is feeling his character or skin at risk, and that is a part of the content that they're creating. So if Ninja is creating a video where he's doing a competition where his stakes are a bit higher, he's doing an esports competition. When you're watching him during that esports competition, you feel it because there's an actual risk there. Whereas sometimes he's talking to you over his content, which is a different type of risk. Oh, I got eliminated. Ooh, that's it. So you know what I mean? So it's a little bit dampened there, but you get the point. With a movie, it's meant to be higher stakes. You're meant to feel like it's a movie, not a TV episode. Because you might have a TV episode where it's building the tension over time. There's, a story that's being built. This character's becoming a villain. You're seeing the arc of that character become a monster or become whatever they decide to become in the storyline. We have a lot of soaps over here in the UK. You might not where you are, but over here in the UK, we have shows like Coronation Street, EastEnders, all these types of soaps where you are in the life of these characters. So you see them build up to the risks or the person or the character that they've become. And then you see them interact with the world that is being built out. That is why TV is working a lot more in terms of building a relationship with the audience, where these movies that are taking these low risk situations are missing out on. Now, there could be a bunch of factors why writers and studios and producers are deciding to do this and not take as much risk in the writing of a character, because that could mean more spending with the budget. It could mean that you need Brad Pitt as opposed to Brad Thompson down the road. It could mean that you need, you get what I mean. You might need a class, what do we call A-lister. You might need a you might need a A-lister to fill that character's role, because there might not be somebody who can fill it in the way that that A-lister can. I get that that can take out the budget. There's also CGI, computer generation, computer generated images. There's also the introduction of course, the Unreal Engine into movies. I've saw some of my favorite directors talk about that. I won't name drop them here. And I've been watching a lot of directors sort of shrink a little bit in this era of movies right now, which I hope they stop doing. Like we need, of course, you've got the studio heads and you've got things that you need to do. You've got a location reconnaissance if you're going to be on location. You've got all of these safety checks and all of these things. You need to protect the actors. You need to protect the. You got all of these things to juggle, and you need to think about the budget and everything in the meantime. But we need to have more risk from the movies that are being made so we can get these very special moments. Yes, there's computer generated images that you can have now, which can save money as far as I know. Like, because if you, I don't know if they actually, is it more expensive to be on set than to be on a computer generated set with the Unreal Engine in play? I don't know. Like, I can't, like, I can see people talking about it. I haven't literally got my hands on the difference between each budget. I mean, we can find it. You can IMDb each movie and you can see what the movie was made with, what was utilized in the movie, what wasn't, how many people you had on set, how many people you had in on cameras, how many cameramen, how many extras. You can see all of that. But in the same breath, there needs to be something that needs to be stand out in order to stand out with the crowd in terms of the media that we have available today. So hopefully, that's what we get in future, and that's what will help us go back to the cinemas. Now, I've spoken about this before in another video topic that you've probably seen, and you've probably seen some more right here on the channel, but I'm going to stop it right there. There's a lot more that I could say, but these are the things that I think are the main factors that are causing a lot of us not to go to the movies. We don't feel it anymore. We don't feel like, whoa, you know what I mean? There are some superheroes and characters that will always get us in the seat, but that is making a softer argument to take more risks in terms of the storytelling and what is being told and how it's being told. So that's why I believe that there's a disconnect between what the studios are seeing in terms of the revenue and the success and what the audience is actually feeling. A movie can still be a success and not be liked. You can see that now because some characters are going to generate a lot of money regardless. But they definitely want some more money now, and you can see that things need to be moving in a positive direction. Boy, my name is Anthony Allen. Just thought I'd talk about this because I have a passion of movies as well. I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy making movies. I enjoy the movie making process and watching people, put their craft on screen. It's very exciting. I've done multi-camera productions. I've done single camera productions. I've done a lot, but I want to see just a little bit more of that. Like, you know what I mean? And you see, and you actually feel it, and it's like, whoa, hold up, what's going on here? That is what we definitely need in our movies. So I just thought I'd just vocalize this right now. You can also contact me on my business email as well. It's a Gmail, so it's a part of the channel. So you can probably see that if you go onto my About page, you click on the About page. It's kind of changed on YouTube, but go to that email. I will have a look at any important emails that you need to send. Don't spam me with any spam. What's the emails that I just don't ignore? The emails that I ignore. Scams. Yeah, don't spam me no scams. I ain't gonna. I can tell it's. I'm pretty tech savvy. In the words of Sylvie from Loki TV show. Just saying. That's a TV show I watch. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Comment down below how you're feeling about the movie cinema process or the movies and how you feel about the movies. Are you going to the cinemas? Are you going to the movies or not? See you in the next one. I want to talk about this topic again. As you can tell, I enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.